Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of My Unfair Advantage. This is going to be a presentation about taking action. And what I did is similar to an open session. I asked the attendees of tonight's webinar what were some pressing questions that they had with regard to taking action. We had an open discussion about what causes people to not take action, what causes people to stop the action that they've been taking, what causes people to take inappropriate action. And we came up with a couple of different questions that I want to address as they have applied to me in my own experience in my own business. Now, I don't want to put myself on a pedestal and say that I am the epitome, the edification basically of taking action. I am an action taker. When I say something, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I keep at it until it's done, and that's how everything I've ever tried, I've actually finished it. And I've got projects right now that I'm still working on that aren't done. And if you were to look at them and you'd say, wow, well, Omar, you're not an action taker. You don't get the stuff. Well, I do. I'm going to continue taking action until it's done, or I will die in the process, and there are some important points for you to keep in front of you. Not to keep in the back of your mind, not to think about once, read them, and then just put them away, but rather to keep in the forefront of everything you do with regard to business. And I guess a lot of this stuff sometimes comes off as like cheesy motivational talk, right? Because it doesn't just apply to business. It applies to almost anything, right? Like life in general. And I don't want to come off cheesy, but I want to tell you some things that have made a big difference. And maybe it's not specific answers, but rather ways of thinking that have helped me in my own business. And again, we haven't arrived at any particular place yet in our business. Melinda and I are very proud of the business that we've been able to accomplish. And a lot of people would say that we've succeeded at doing something that a lot of people have failed at. And we continue to succeed on an ongoing basis. And a lot of people want to have what we have. And that's why I want you to keep these important points in front of you. So I asked the audience, well, what are some things that you would consider to be important? What are some questions that you would consider to be important? One of the ones that was asked was, how do you believe in yourself? How do you just believe in yourself? How do you believe that you're going to be successful at something, especially when it's something new, something you've never done before? I'm gonna be as forthcoming as I can be with some of these answers. Some of the things that I say here, they might not sit very well with you because some of them might cause you to face some realities that you've been avoiding. Okay, now look, in a lot of things, there is some talent or some just God-given talent that is required to be incredibly successful. All right. There are some things that are out of your direct control to succeed in some things. I'll give you an example. To be above and beyond the rest in basketball, for example, having the advantage of height, of a body, of a physique that makes you taller than the opponent, gives you a formidable advantage in being successful, right? That is not to say, however, that someone that has of equal age but not equal physical ability can't work their ass off and work harder to become just as good as that guy. But the advantage that person had to be successful is that they were just naturally taller. They were born taller, so they didn't have to work as hard to be equally as successful. But my point is that, they were both equally successful. So why am I saying this when the question is, how do you believe in yourself? Well, I'm saying this because for some things, people attribute the fact that they just don't have God-given talents. One of the things that pisses me off all the time is when somebody says to me, Omar, yeah, you just have the gift of gab. That's why you're so good at selling. That's why you're so good on video. It upsets me because you know what I say to that? I say, bullshit. No one ever came to my house on Christmas and said, hey, Omar, here's a gift. It's gab. From now on, you'll be able to sell like never before. No, that's bullshit. That's just an excuse that people create to justify why they aren't willing to work hard at achieving what I've been able to achieve. I wasn't born knowing how to sell. My formal education was in medicine. I sucked at talking to people. But I had to learn it, and I learned it, and I strengthened that muscle through repetition. Well, I can't talk today. But it was something that I repeated. I kept working on it. How do I do that? I broke my comfort zone. I got in front of people, even though my stomach was telling me, no, don't knock on that door. I knocked on that door anyway, and I risked failing. I risked ridicule. because my why was much greater than my now or my not ables. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. That's just the way that it, makes sense in my head. So how do you believe in yourself to be successful at something new? Identify a very powerful why. A very powerful reason why you want to be successful. Now, some people are going to have greater limitations than others in certain avenues, particularly ones that require physical exertion, physical stress. There are going to be some handicaps. I'm sorry if you don't like that word handicap, but I'm going to use it because it's a word and it applies here. Some people are handicapped at certain things because they, perhaps, for example, if you are a paraplegic, you won't be able to compete in professional sports because there are rules there, because but there's the Special Olympics, there's other things, I don't even know that you can compete in the Special Olympics, but that doesn't mean that you can't be hugely successful at other things. Look at Stephen Hawking, right? You see my point there? Here's a paraplegic that can't even talk, and he is one of the most brilliant minds of our time. So how willing are you to overcome your own challenges in your life? I don't know if anybody here has ever heard of a man named Nick Vujicic. If not, look it up. But here's a guy with no limbs that's affected more lives and affected more change in the world than a lot of people, because it really comes down to your why. And if you don't believe in yourself, then believe in why you need to make a change, and why you need to get good at something, and why you need to practice until you get it right and you'll learn that's something new. What is your why? Look, I've found in my experience that there are 4 motivating factors, the 4 F's that motivate people to take action. Okay? Those 4 F's are fortune, family, fame, and freedom. Fortune, family, fame, and freedom. You might be prone to one of those. You might be prone to 2 of those. Maybe all of them motivate you. Some people are motivated by fortune. They just want to make a lot of money to buy a whole bunch of stuff that maybe they didn't have in the past. Some people are motivated by family. Maybe they just want to prove to someone in their family that they can do it. Maybe they just want to provide something for their family that their family never had. Maybe they're just motivated by their kids and they want to provide a better life for them. Some people are motivated by family. Some people are motivated by fame. They want to see their name up in lights. They want to be at the top of the ladder. They want everybody to be looking at them. That's not a bad thing. To be, to the winner of the race and to accept the trophy and to have everybody want to be like you and to be in a position to be able to help those people and show them what you did to get there. It's not a bad thing. Some people are motivated by fame. Some people are motivated by freedom. They could care less about the fame. They don't really have to prove anything to their family, and they don't necessarily need the money or want the money because they'd be happy without it. But they're motivated by the freedom, by the ability to do whatever the hell they want whenever they want, by the freedom from having to comply with what somebody else says in order to have the things that they want. What motivates you? I think that believing in yourself to succeed comes from, particularly at something new, comes from knowing what motivates you and putting a very vivid why right in front of you. A very vivid why right in front of you. My why, I just wanted to provide a life for my wife that she just couldn't have had otherwise. I wanted freedom, not just for me, but for her as well. I hated the fact that I knew I was smarter than my boss, yet I had to listen to him every day. I hated the fact that when I went to a restaurant, I was reading the menu from right to left and determining what I was going to eat based on how much it cost, instead of, just ordering whatever the hell I wanted to eat. Those were the things that motivated me, freedom. But you might have a different motivation. And again, does this sound cheesy? Does this sound like, whatever? Call it whatever you want. These are the things that I had to do in my mind. These are the changes that I had to make in my life to become hugely successful at what I do. Next question that was asked today on the webinar was, what holds us back from taking that action? Right? So Omar, okay, great. I guess I kind of identified what it is that motivates me. I do have a why. I would love to have these things. What is it that holds me back? What is the thing that stops me from taking action? There's one answer to that: complacency. You get comfortable. That's what holds you back. You get comfortable. Have you ever heard the story about the dog on the porch? Well, There's a little boy, and he's walking home from school. There's an old man rocking in a chair on a porch, and there's a dog that's sitting next to him, and he's crying. The dog is just crying, and the little boy says, "Hey, old man, the dog is crying." And the old man says, "Yeah, I noticed that." And he says, "Well, why is the dog crying?" The old man says, "Well, there's a nail in the board on the porch, and it's pierced his skin, and it hurts him, and that's why he's crying." And the little boy says, "Well, why doesn't he get up?" And the old man says, "Well, I guess the nail just doesn't hurt bad enough." See, it hurts bad enough to cry, but it doesn't hurt bad enough to get up. My friend Brad Goss said something awesome recently. I often hear my wife saying, "You know, Omar, I don't want to go shopping when I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet because I tend to buy more stuff in the grocery store if I go when I'm hungry." And it makes perfect sense, right? You're hungry, your brain has a certain, like, "Oh, I want that, I want that, I want that." And shopping while you're hungry isn't a good idea. Grocery shopping. So maybe you agree, maybe you don't. But for some people, this holds true. And it was funny to hear Brad Goss make the same comparison when it comes to money. Most of us are full. We've got what we need. We've got what we need. We've got just enough to pay our rent. We've got just enough to make the insurance payment. We've got just enough to pay the minimum on our credit card bill. We're not going to be able to pay this one, but we can pay that one next month. And we got just enough to get by. Never quite enough to live comfortably. Never quite enough to live the life of abundance. But we've got just enough to get by. Our nail doesn't hurt bad enough. We're not hungry enough to take all the other actions that we need. We get complacent in where we are. You got to put your back against a wall. What holds you back from taking action? Well, you get complacent. Another thing that holds a lot of people back from taking action, sadly, is fear. Fear of, failure. Fear sometimes of success. Just fear of the unknown. Fear is fear. But here's something important that, a great line, I'm going to steal it right now from Will Smith. Fear isn't real. Fear is something you create. Make no mistake between, don't confuse fear with danger, right? You guys know what movie I'm talking about. Danger is very real. There's always risk. Danger is very real. Fear is not real. Fear is something that you create in your mind in order to justify not taking the risk. So what holds you back? Complacency. I'm comfortable. Why risk that? Why take that risk? What if I fail? You know what? I can just get by the way that I am now. You're never going to break that. You're never going to break that fear and take that action unless you have that strong why, which brings us back to the opening slide. Next question that was asked tonight, a very good one. How do you recognize opportunities that'll make a difference in your business? Okay, so let's say you are an action taker. Let's say you have that why. Let's say, okay, you know what? I'm taking action, man. Omar, I'm with you. I understand that. I'm not one of those people, but I understand where you're coming from. I've made the decision, and there's a big difference between wanting to succeed and making the decision to succeed. Maybe you're watching this right now and you're saying to yourself, you know what, Omar, all right, it's all good. I've made the decision, but now what? Now what, man? How do I know? How do I know what to do? How do I know this opportunity jumped in front of me? How do I know that this is something I need? How do I know it's going to make a difference? How do I know that I should jump on this right now? Well, this is great. And you never know 100%. Look, I don't have all the answers. I'm human just like you, man. And I made a lot of mistakes and wrong choices when I was building my business. I let myself get pulled in different directions. I allowed myself to be distracted. Mostly it was because I failed to have a really solid plan of action. It's not that I didn't want to take action or that I was failing to take the action. It's that I was taking, just action all over the place. I was taking so much action that there's no, you would look at it and you're like, oh my God, what the hell's wrong with this guy? He's just running around all over the place, not really getting anything done. That was me. I was doing so much and accomplishing nothing. And, a lot of times I would see something pop up in front of me and I would be like, oh, that's awesome. Got to try that. Oh, well, look at this, man. I'm trying to make money online. I'm not doing anything with Amazon. There's this new Amazon product that just came out. Well, hey, let me just buy this thing too, and I'll make money with Amazon too. And then another thing came out. Oh, well, look at this, mobile marketing. Hey, I'm not doing anything with SMS, text messaging, and mobile marketing. Let me buy this thing. That's how people are making money online. I'm buying mobile marketing. Hey, what's this other thing? Pinterest. I've never even heard of Pinterest, but it looks like people are making money. There's this new product about Pinterest. I'm going to buy that. How do I recognize which ones of these opportunities are actually going to make a difference in my business? Well, the answer to this is you have to have a business plan. You have to have a solid business plan. You have to come up with a business plan by reverse engineering your goal, by actually having a clear and concise picture in your mind of what you want to achieve, how much money you want to make, how you want to make it. What is the business plan that's going to take you there? And if an opportunity arises, you need to look at it and compare it to your business plan. And you need to make a logical adult decision like bosses and CEOs of companies all over the world make every day. You need to look at this opportunity that has popped up in front of you. You have to see if and how it fits into the business plan that you've been adamantly following to get to your goal. If it doesn't, then you have to have the audacity to say, this is a great opportunity, but right now is not the time for me. Or vice versa. Hey, this is a great time and I'm actually looking for an opportunity, but that's not the opportunity for me. You see, action takes place at the cross of an X. It's when two planes meet. Action takes place when opportunity meets readiness. And sometimes you're ready, man. You're ready and you're hungry and you're looking, but the opportunity just isn't there. No action happens. Sometimes the opportunity is there, but man, you're just not ready and you're, oh man, it's just not the right time in my business. It's like, oh, I'm focusing on something. No action takes place. It isn't until you're ready and the opportunity presents itself that you make a logical, informed decision, not based on impulse, but based on logic, and you realize whether or not it can make a difference in your business. And look, I hate to, sound rhetorical here, but every opportunity will make a difference in your business. It will either make a good difference or bad difference, right? If you take an opportunity, it's going to make one difference or another. But you know what? I would rather look. I don't know. I just don't think that anybody sits on their deathbed and looks back and says, well, you know what? I'm sure glad I didn't take that opportunity. I don't know. It's just me. What's the best way to link a goal to action? Okay, and this is good. Here's why I like this question. How do I... Okay, Omar, so I understand I need to have a goal. I've got a good goal, man. I've got a picture of it. Literally, I look at it every day. I got certain things that I want to do. But what do I do? What do I physically do to link the goal to the action, to the action things, the things that I got to do today? Coffee? I mean, what do? Do you meditate? Do I associate it somehow in my mind? Do I just do it? How do I know the next step? What exactly is it that links the goal that I've created for myself and the things that I've written down to the actions that I need to take? And that's great. The answer is what links the goal to the action is the plan, okay? The plan. Every single thing that you have to do on the way to that goal breaks down to an action item in your plan. Not having a list of items that each mount up to small achievable goals, that each mount up to a bigger goal, that each mount up to the main goal. If you don't have that, you'll never achieve. Look, there's 4 parts to every journey, 4 components to every single journey. Okay, so right now you could consider your goal, your from where you are now to getting to your goal, that's your journey, right? We all have a journey that we're on. There are 4 components to every journey. You have to have these 4 things or that journey will not complete. It will not happen. Here are the 4 things you have to have. You want to talk about linking a goal to action? Here are the 4 things you have to have. Number 1, you have to have a clear, identified start point. Your start point is where you are now, where you are financially, where you are in your life, where you are in your head, what's going on with you right now. That's your start point. Obviously, that's why you're watching this. You have to have an end point. That's your goal. You need to have a clear, defined end point. When can I say, oh, okay, I'm done. I've reached it. I've gotten it. I achieved it. If you don't have an actual goal for your business, an end game, an end in mind. If you're building a business just because, like, I'm building a business, then that's the ideology of the cancer cell. It's growth for the purpose of growth. It serves no one. It ends up killing the host. You're growing just for the purpose of growth. Nothing good comes from that. You'll kill the host. It's unsustainable. You have to be growing to achieve a specific size with a purpose. What is the specific size that you're looking to grow to? What is the purpose for growing to that specific size? What will happen when you get there? Are you trying to grow your business to 1.27 million because you know that you want to sell it on this particular platform and you can have a buyer at 1.27 million, and you came up with the 1.27 million because that you know that where you want to live for the amount of time that you want to live, you'll be able to live on just the interest that you've from the 1.27 that invested into this particular thing. You see that? That is a clear, concise end game. Now, I've got two parts of my journey. I've got my start point. I've got where I want to be. There are still two very critical components. Number three, you need a map. You need a map. How am I going to get from where I am now to where I'm going to go? Where am I going to have to turn? Where am I going to have to stop? Where am I going to have to go? You need a map. Think of it, if I was driving somewhere, I need to know where I'm starting. Every GPS navigation system needs to have a current location, a destination, and a file to look at, a map, in order to plot your journey. Right? The one missing thing, a vehicle. You need a vehicle to take on that journey. That vehicle is your business. You need 4 things. So how do you link your goal to action? Well, you have to have those 4 things. You have to have that end in mind. And you have to create a series of small achievable goals. What are small achievable goals? Well, when you give someone directions in a journey, don't you give them small achievable goals? Don't you say, hey, look, go 3 blocks, you'll get to a red light, you're going to make a right there. Oh, okay. Well, I know I'm on track in this journey. If I got to that red light and I made a right there and I saw, oh, he said there's a McDonald's. There's a McDonald's. Okay, what next? Okay, proceed straight. You're going to go 2 more miles. You're going to see a big billboard. The billboard is going to be for, Omar Martin's My Unfair Advantage program. At that billboard, you're going to stop. You're going to make a right. Okay, that's another achievable goal, small achievable goal. You see, big journeys are made up of a series of small attainable goals. Small attainable goals allow you to measure your progress along the way. Small attainable goals allow you to measure your progress along the way. Quitting my job was not the end destination for me, but it sure as hell was one of the small attainable goals on my list of things to do. Obviously, after I quit my job, life goes on. I've still got to continue supporting my family. I have to make sure that my business, I'm running a business. I didn't hit the lottery. Does this make sense? It was just part of the journey that I'm on to be able to provide the life that I want for my family, to be able to settle down in Sarasota, Florida, in the house of my wife's dreams and my dreams. We share in that same dream. To be able to provide for my mom, the life that she wants in the remainder of her years. There's a lot of things in my journey that I'm not going to get into here, but there are goals, and then there are small attainable things. Now, what are the action steps that you're taking? The problem that a lot of people fall into is they create these small attainable goals as they go. And they don't have an end in sight. They don't have a destination. They're missing one of the 4 components of the journey, or maybe 2 of the 4 components of the journey. Maybe you don't have the map. Maybe you don't have the vehicle. Maybe you don't. You need to have all 4 of those, okay? You need to have a plan. You need to take into consideration that you have to have a motivating why. You need to take into consideration that everybody's journey is different. Some people have a certain advantage that's going to, a God-given advantage that's going to, in certain things, a God-given advantage that's going to give them an ability to achieve that same level of success with a less amount of effort than someone that doesn't have that God-given advantage. Fortunately for us, we don't we don't do something that's physically demanding, in the sense where my height, thank God my weight isn't going to determine whether or not I succeed, but it'll probably determine how long I can enjoy my success. But there's a couple of factors at play there. Some people might say, well, oh my God, I'm on the short end of this because I just don't have the time that you have, Omar. Screw that. I don't buy that. I was working 12 hours a day at my regular job as a sales manager for a very, very big company when I built my business. So don't tell me about time. I didn't sleep. I gave up sleep. I sacrificed very precious moments with my family and my loved ones in order to build the business that I have today so that I can spend all the freaking time that I want with my family and give them whatever I want. That was a sacrifice I was willing to make. How did I believe in myself? Well, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I was discouraged. Sometimes I hit a brick wall. But I kept getting up. I kept pushing forward. I kept on trying. I kept on, and I kept on. I kept on keeping on, right? Sound cheesy? I know, sounding cheesy. I'm starting to sound like Tony Robbins. But listen, if the shoe fits, wear it. If the shoe fits, wear it. You got to take action, and you got to have those components to your journey. Too many people out there nowadays, they envision success, they envision themselves taking action, but they don't actually do it. At the end of the day, you've got to be self-motivated. You've got to want it, man. I'm not, I would love to see you succeed. I would love to have every single person watching this video succeed. But the reality is that statistics have shown us that maybe 90-something% of you won't. You simply won't do what it takes to succeed. I guarantee you that. I promise you, rather. I didn't have any kind of special, attributes that, enabled me to succeed, that you can't learn, that you can't develop, that you can't purchase, that you can't build on. There's absolutely zero reason why you can't do what I'm doing better than me and achieve greater success than me, a lot faster than me. I know people. I know a 14-year-old girl right now that's doing internet marketing and kicking ass. And I say to myself, wow, she is light years ahead of where I was when I was 14. I just wanted to play with my Atari, and every one of us has a different drive and determination. You've got to be self-motivated. I'm not there to kick you in the ass every single day. You've got to have your own why. You've got to have your own reason. And if you don't, then you don't. You won't make it. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. If you do, then tune in to the next episode of My Unfair Advantage. Okay, what support may we surround ourselves with in order to succeed? I think a lot of people surround themselves with the wrong type of mentality. They surround themselves with negative people. Look, I'm going to say this right here. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because we're all adults. And at the end of the day, you are what you surround yourself with. Look, there are a lot of people out there that are quick to tell you you're not going to make it, you're not going to get to where you're going to be, where you want to be, you just can't. That's seldom, if ever, said to you by someone that has made it or is at where you want to be. Seldom, if ever. It's always the person that isn't making $1 that tells you that you can't make 10. Why are they telling you that? Not because they hate you, not necessarily because they're haters, but just because they simply don't have the capacity to comprehend what you're trying to do because they themselves have never done it. Talk to a millionaire about your $1 million idea, and you're going to get support. You're going to get encouragement. Talk to your next door neighbor who makes less money than you about your $1 million a year, and you're going to get, yeah, come on, man, that'll never work. You $1 millionaire? Come on, man, let's go grab a beer. That's what you're going to get, right? But it's your fault because you're asking a plumber for cardiac advice. Go to the right people for the right type of advice. If you have chest pain, you don't call a plumber, dude. You call 911, hopefully. If you have a business question, go to someone that succeeded in the business that you are trying to build, right? Surround yourself with the right people. The right people. There's, you can find positive people anywhere, but are you surrounding yourself with the right positive people? People that truly understand because your next door neighbor might be really positive and he might be discouraging you from shooting for your dreams simply because he's trying to protect you and doesn't want to see you get hurt. Why is he doing that? Why does he feel the need to covet you and protect you from getting hurt? Because he cannot fathom the possibility of having $1 million because he's never done it. Because he's struggling to pay his bills every single month. So what support should you surround yourselves with in order to succeed? Surround yourself with successful people. And that's how you're going to be most likely to succeed. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on the next episode of My Unfair Advantage.